So we go out to our Iowa, and Will Myers is with us today for a presentation on the recent adjustments to district operations, communications, and training in Iowa. We welcome Will, and if Kate was able to join us, we've got Kate put in the panel position too, Will. So take it away, Will. Give it a try, see if our technology is working there.
Good morning. Yes, it looks like we're working. I assume the audio is coming through okay, Ray?
Coming through very good, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. We'll go ahead and get started. Well, good morning, everyone. As Ray mentioned, I'm Will Myers. I'm the Field Services Bureau Chief with the Division of Soil Conservation and Water Quality at the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship. So, over the last couple of days, we've heard many stories about impacts to district operations from many states. And in Iowa, as one can expect, we're no different. We've had to make significant changes to, our operational model and our priorities to maintain our operational business capacity, and ultimately to continue to get conservation work done and on the ground within our partnership. So this morning we wanted to share and highlight some of the key initiatives that we've done here in Iowa that we've implemented or in the process of implementing to facilitate some of these district operations. As many of you are aware, and as we've heard too, there are a number of different state conservation agency organizational structures, different types of partnership roles, funding mechanisms, all those things. So in Iowa, our soil water conservation districts and Department of Agriculture, we are very heavily integrated in partnership together. So at the Department of Agriculture, we provide guidance to the districts for operational policies, procedures. We provide human resources support. So, for example, we hire district employees. We facilitate that. We help facilitate financial and expense management, all those types of things. So we're very heavily integrated. Furthermore, we're further integrated in our conservation partnership with our federal, other state, our district staff, and other partners and employers and contractors. We're all ultimately housed under one roof. So across the state, we've got 99 counties and 100 districts. We've got a double-wide county that's split in two. So IDALS provides a number of different positions to help support district operations and also to help support our federal, state, and partnership as well. As we're so heavily involved in this process, we're also have a lead role in providing guidance to support district operations. And really we've had to do that in we've had to make that transition very rapidly as we've had to change operations and communication strategies, aligning with current conditions. And as other states are aware, those conditions can change quite rapidly. So, really these efforts, they've impacted, and our current operational conditions have impacted all staff, especially those in management roles, as we've had to temporarily transition many of our supervisory duties and our previous work priorities to focus on coordinating with our partner agencies, especially our federal folks and conservation districts of Iowa, where we're working to support conservation delivery and program promotion before. Now we've had to integrate those goals into this new pandemic operational structure, so to speak. So everybody's got different guidance. We've had to align applicable guidance from each one of these entities to maintain our operations in really what's been mostly an uncharted territory for us, going from face-to-face customer service, working with our landowners, partners, farmers, to now largely virtual. So it's been challenging, as many folks have stated, but it's been a necessity as we've got to maintain our work product delivery and our workflow. So some of the examples, just to share real quickly, these will be very similar to what other states have had to deal with too. We've had a number of discussions, and Tracy's shared some of these on Monday. But things we had to do immediately. So we had to make that rapid transition to virtual technologies and communications. We were no longer able to meet face-to-face for public meetings, so all district business had to be conducted via teleconference. Thankfully, in Iowa, we are allowed to do that under our public meeting laws. So I know other states have mentioned that's been a challenge. We were able to do that very quickly and just switch to teleconference to keep things moving. We've also had to keep cost share, documentation, financial transactions, documents, all those types of things have to keep moving forward to keep our workflow going. It's also been mentioned too, signatory requirements for original signatures. Thankfully, again, because IDOLS is so heavily integrated in some of these operations, any document that we had created, we had some of that control, so we could temporarily relax some of those signatory requirements. Other ones that we've had to maintain original signatures on, we've really implemented a lot of non-traditional methods for document exchange and obtaining signatures. So, our offices many of those have Dropbox. We're doing parking lot meetings, finding all sorts of innovative ways to exchange documents, and we really had to do that in appreciation for the technology gaps and the communication gaps that we have with our various generations of folks that we work with, both of our customers and within our own commissioners as well. One of the key things I wanted to talk about this morning that we recently rolled out is a new virtual meeting and training program. So as I mentioned previously, when we got into this back in March, we went to teleconference meetings only for district business operations. Partnering with Conservation Districts of Iowa, we launched a new initiative that allowed us to manage district businesses through utilizing Zoom software. So I know we use a lot of different virtual platforms. We've chosen to do this one via Zoom. So Conservation Districts of Iowa, they've got regional planners located throughout the state, and they had purchased license to make these available so that they could provide both our staff at IDOLS and also our commissioners training, and other folks that want to participate, to provide them training and then access to use that software. So they were able to do that. IDOLS didn't want to just go out and purchase 100 Zoom licenses. As we know, folks wouldn't necessarily be utilizing these in all instances, and we wanted folks to have the training first. So what we've allowed is folks that have really embraced this technology is we have allowed them to use some of their district expenses on a pilot basis to purchase that Zoom software. So once they're trained, once they want to use it, they can use this moving forward. So interest has been fairly good in that program. There's still some technology challenges, as I think we can appreciate. As I mentioned before, there's some generational things. So, thankfully we can still call in and utilize that as a teleconference call, but, at times we don't have laptops issued to every commissioner, and it is using this a lot of times in a public forum as well. So we've had to work through some challenges of that, but really the goal behind this is, once we do get post-pandemic and return a lot of these to face-to-face, this will help us to address some of the challenges that we had before on getting some of these folks together for meetings, especially during busy seasons. When we're dealing with harvest, we've got a number of snowbirds who like to go down to warmer climates, things like that. We always have special meetings where we have folks that need to travel some distance. If we can start to utilize this technology in the future, this will really serve us as a benefit. So we'll continue to work through that. Another item I wanted to touch on is today is we've recently are in the process of implementing a new staff training and onboarding program, and so this is new and non-traditional compared to what we've been doing before. Largely, whenever we bring on IDOL staff, whenever we would bring on new district staff, it was largely a face-to-face process. We had a peer mentoring program where we would partner them with other area staff to help bring them on board. We were suddenly in a spot like many others where we weren't able to do that anymore. So we've been working to bring these into a more virtual format with integration of web-based models here. And the timing was perfect. So the primary goal here again was to establish consistency across our state offices. We have a ton of new staff, both on the federal side, on the state side, on the district side. We've got some new regional supervisors that are managers within IDOLs that are working with their staff in their regions. And they've really been the leads in developing in this one. So the timing's perfect to roll this out as the training is needed right now. So we're still trying to balance, the supervisor components of it, small group, mentor training, but that's really assessed on a case-by-case basis, depending on the accessibility of that office. The staffing levels, we have to take the health and safety considerations into our consideration when we're looking at rolling these things out. So we're trying to be extremely flexible, but again, the need for this is right now. So we've been actively testing and rolling this out really at the same time. So there's some trial and error involved with the approach, but it's also proved helpful because we've been able to determine what works, what doesn't work. Essentially been pushed into doing this, but it's been absolutely an opportune time to do it. So what we're currently working on now is just getting the onboarding and training documentation put together, but we're also working to expand that scope to include more online type development modules. So this will bring, as I mentioned, all the new partner staff. So this will help our federal staff that are new, our new district staff and other partners, so we can help better communicate roles and priorities. So we're still in the planning stages on those, but we do plan to have those all online at our staff resource policies and procedures website. So we already have a website that has that stuff available. We just will need to get that populated with our new training module. So, we mentioned at the beginning of the session, robbing good ideas. That's really one of the things we're hoping to get out of this session here is some ideas and examples that were shared from what other states are doing as we move forward, so we can hopefully model what we're doing and save us some time, because we're all stretched on resources like everyone else. So, I wanted to conclude to say overall results have been successful, but of course, not without some challenges. So I just wanted to share a couple things wrapping up here that, we've recently wrapped up our state fiscal year, and we've actually had one of the best years ever for conservation program expenditures. So we're really in line with one of the top years ever that we've had. And what's notable about this is we did have some good weather, which we have typically not had, so that's really helped with construction. But what's really notable about that is we had a really strong fourth quarter for getting work done, processing all that paperwork, completing all that contracts, getting everything certified and out. And our fourth quarter was really when we were immediately forced into a telework status and had to clear out the offices essentially and just get staff into a completely different working environment. And they were really able to step up and get all this work done. So it's just incredible to see when we look at graphs of the work getting done, how strong we were able to finish, all things considered. So that's a testament to both our field office and district staff being able to pull things together, but also to our farmers and landowners too, to keep pushing forward in such a time of struggle. So we really need to see some success stories through all this. And again, to build on what others have said too. So, although we continue to work through these challenges, we really want to see this as an opportunity by adapting some of these new technologies as a way looking forward that we can further rely on those for some of the challenges, times like I mentioned, getting folks together, things like that. If we have these new technologies, we can hopefully utilize them moving forward post-pandemic. So with that, Ray, I'll turn it back over to you if we've got time for some questions or if we need to move on. So thank you.
And Ray's going to unmute. Yeah, thanks, Will. Outstanding presentation. You had a staff member of IDLES that actually put together a Zoom cheat sheet, if I remember right. A nice set of directions that you used for your commissioners as they entered into their annual meeting this year. Do I remember that correctly?
That's correct. Yeah, that was Jonathan, and he was really the, I'd mentioned that first initiative with the Zoom training, and that annual meeting that you'd participated, that was really the precursor to rolling out that training and opportunity statewide. So yeah, so you're familiar with that. But yeah, Jonathan was the lead working with us to get that rolled out.
So would you be willing to share that? And I'll share that with 105 registrants, the folks that are on our list, right? Because I think that will help you with district board members. It eased minds. We had a lot of commissioners, board members from Iowa that participated in the annual meeting, and they seemed to be very confident up until the time is it called derecho? Derecho?
Yeah, the derecho, yes.
Ratio, my gosh, people were grabbing their computers and heading for their storm shelters, right? During the course of the annual meeting. So I am so glad that you're having a much better year and cost share and practice application. But that one event right on top of the annual meeting had to be quite a challenge for you.
That was on top of a statewide meeting. So we had about just over a third of the counties impacted in the state that were included in the governor's disaster proclamation. And we're still rolling out guidance on things like windbreak repair. We're struggling with harvest because we just had a number of damaged crops, but we had sustained winds over 120 miles per hour with that derecho event. So it's definitely, they're not terribly uncommon. It's an inland hurricane, as they call it, but this one was particularly bad and came at a particularly bad time of year, especially with crop damage, because we were right at that maturity stage when especially the corn is very vulnerable. And we went from having meetings where we were having, one of our anticipated one of the best yielding years ever to, 20 minutes after the event, some of the, millions of acres damaged. So it was quite devastating. It's just amazing the impacts those weather events can have on all of us across the country.
Well, we all were following that, and while there are catastrophes and different types of natural resource disasters across the nation, we certainly saw that one real time, any of us that were participating in that annual meeting. So if Jonathan or you would send that along, I think it would
Absolutely.
Really help if you're willing to share. I know you're gaining a lot from the discussions we're having. We gain a lot too, and certainly your training pieces. Realizing that in Iowa, many of the district administrators are state employees of the State Conservation Agency, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. Yeah, it's many of our folks within the offices. Our duties are really split up where we're providing service, even though we're state employees, we're providing direct services to both the districts and then with our federal partners as well.